So welcome once again. This is our weekly webinar on Microsoft Excel. And today we'll be looking at pivot tables. We are going to have the introductory part today. If we are not able to finish and conclude the topics that we have earmarked for today, we may have to take another Saturday. So the objectives of this session is we are going to be looking at what pivot table is. For everything, there are rules. So we'll be looking at the rules that we need to understand and abide with when working with pivot tables. We'll look at the uses and the functions of pivot tables. We will now look at to create pivot tables. We are going to do that, and everybody will have opportunity to create pivot tables. Then we'll do some little demonstration on how to use pivot table to do some of those functions and the uses. Well, this is the dashboards, the chart graphs with pivot charts, scenarios with live applicable analysis. These are all, we are not going to delve into them, but it's in the, if you were the paid version, then we'll actually go into those other components. So what we are doing today is just the introductory to give us an overview of what pivot tables are and how we can use them in our day-to-day work with Excel, especially as it concerns handling data. Okay, so but for the purpose of this our session, we'll just look at some key aspects of the subject pivot table. So we are believing that at the end of this session, participants will understand what a pivot table is and its uses. Participants will understand how to create pivot table from raw data sets. Number 3, participants will understand how to summarize reports using pivot tables. Then, although, like I said, for 4, we will not be creating dashboards. And number 5, to understand how to filter and connect reports and display a subset on dashboards. For 4 and 5, this introductory aspect of our pivot table is it's not going to cover how to insert charts and construct dashboards and then do reports connection. We may not be able to do that, but at least we'll be able to show us some level of pivot table analysis. Now let's look at some aspect of the introductory session. A pivot table is a statistic tool which helps us to summarize and reorganize our table. If you get the word pivot, it's something that you can look at from different angles. You can pivot your column to become your rows. You can pivot your rows to become your columns. And they are very important because they allow anyone to filter and extract significance about your data. And it's also key to note that while you work with your pivot table and you do the different levels of manipulation, it does not alter the real data set that you have in your original table. So like we said, it helps you to look at it from different ways and perspectives. Now, you would notice how we have written our pivot tables in this presentation. The pivot is different. I mean, there is a separate word from the tables. Hereafter, you will see how we begin to link them together as a one word, the pivot table as one word. Now, pivot tables, they are a functionality that is an integral part of many spreadsheet applications. Even some of our database software have these components embedded in them. And they are usually used for data visualization tools and business intelligence. So now let's look at some of the rules governing the use of PivotTable. Now, when you are looking at creating a PivotTable, you need to understand that all columns must have a header field name or a title. And those titles, they must be unique. You can't see name in column A and then name in column B. If you do that, you will run into trouble. So it's good that they are unique. So you can have full name on the first column, and then the second column, you may have surname or something. So the other one is that the units of headers, they should be uniform. For instance, if you have a column that you have designated to capture amount, that column should be uniform. It means that the value or the unit should be the same. You shouldn't be capturing Naira in the same column and at the same time capturing values in USD or any other currency. So that is the uniformity of each header. Now, as much as possible, avoid blank cells, especially in the first column. Try to remove any totals or subtotals in your data rules, because a pivot table will eventually create that when you need it. If you don't remove it from your original table, when you create a table, that total will eventually become a part of your data set, which will give you a bloated figure. And of course, it might give you error. Then always leave blank rows. I like doing that, especially when I'm running data sets. My table are always surrounded by empty rows and empty columns, up, down, and all the sides. Okay, so if you adhere to this, then your trouble using pivot tables will be very, very minimal. Now let's look at some of the things that pivot table can help us to achieve, functions and some of the uses. Now we can use it to summarize reports. We can use it to sort our data. We can use it to filter. We can use it to count occurrences, say how many times a specific person reported or made entry in the data set. It can also be used to determine the total of entries. With pivot table, extra calculations can be performed. With time, when we begin, you will see that the table that does not have certain values, that we can use pivot table to generate those values, and then you will see them on the pivot table. But remember that those values will not be on the original data set, because we say that whatever you are working, the data that you are using to create your pivot table will not be changed. However, when you change that original table, you can come to your pivot table and get the updated version of the details. Data outlook can be reorganized with pivot table, and then sets of data can be grouped so that you can view them as grouped using pivot table. I think we are getting some noises from the background, and I'm going to mute everyone. Okay, so sorry for that. Okay, like I said, we are not going to look at the graphs. Otherwise,
if I talk now, everybody will hear, but it's not.
Okay, so this is the narrative of our presentation. We are going to go into the main thing using Excel. So in the time being, we are just going to open up maybe in the next 3 minutes to ask questions and ask questions, maybe things you feel are have been disturbing you in PivotTable, hopefully that we'll be able to answer them. If we're not able to answer them in our presentation, we'll let you know how to do that. And I would like to, sorry, I know some hands are up, just a minute. I'm going to share our attendance again so that we can use the link. We actually have a link, so please just follow the links. We may not be able to follow just click the link and fill your details. We may not be able to begin to pick your emails from this chat box. Okay, so some people's hands are raised. Idongesit, please go ahead.
Yes,
your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, pharmacist.
Good evening. Welcome.
Glad to join this session.
So thank you. Go ahead. You have a question?
Yes, I am wondering, is it going to be a participant also going to follow your screen to do exactly what you're doing by having this application also opened up so we can practice at the same time as you?
Okay, the way we run it is you will listen while we treat this concept, and then we will give time to for you to practice. So we usually give about 10-15 minutes, depending on what we have covered, so that you can practice. And then when we come back after that session, participants will let us know if they encountered any challenge or they were able to do that. So that's how we run it. And depending also on what we are doing, sometimes we may already share the file, or some other time we may just decide to generate a data set during the session. And then, so it depends on what we are doing. So for today, since this is an introductory part, I might just generate something that you can also see how I generate it, and then you can generate, and then let's work. Or I can share that as soon as I am done demonstrating. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
There is no great man in the kingdom. It's the backing of the great God that makes ordinary men look great. There is no great man.
Okay, there is no question that has come in yet
We are living
on the chat box.
a great man. We are not achieving.
Okay, so I'm going ahead to open one of our, I'm going to ahead to open, there's a message. Yes, there is background noise. So what I am going to do, if I hear a noise again, I will mute everyone, and then it wouldn't be easy for you to unmute until, so but I don't want to do that. Thank you all. So I'm just trying to clean up what we had already done previously on this. Okay. Okay, so I am going ahead. Let me share this screen. I hope my screen is up now.
Yes.
Please, can you confirm if you can see my screen now?
Yes, Sonny can see your screen.
Yes, I can see your screen, sir.
Okay, so thanks so much.
Sonny can see your screen.
Okay. So this is a data set that we have. Is one of the, we have often used this to run our analysis, our trainings, and we are going to use this to answer some questions. But before we do that, we are going to look into how to create a pivot table. Okay, so if you look at this, you will see, let me see the end. So we have 421 entries here. Okay, 422, no, 421, because the first row is our header. So now when you look at this, you will discover that each column has a unique header for them. So there is none that is a duplicate of the other. And we have tried as much as possible not to have any blank spaces, either in columns or rows. Okay. Now I'm going to teach us how to create a pivot table. You know, when I first heard the word pivot table was when I was working in an organization, and then the M&E will share a pivot table of the data and ask us to view them. That was when I first heard about pivot table. And then it caught my attention. But then I didn't know that you could actually use Excel to create it. That was way back in 2009, 2010. Okay, so I now started working through PivotTable, telling myself I need to understand how this works. Okay, so most of you may also have been in that state before, where you know something like PivotTable exists, and then you can only use it to view reports. But you can actually create PivotTable on your own, and you use it to answer some questions. Some of the questions that we'll be asking ourselves and answering is, see this on column H now. We want to show the quantity consumed per state. Okay, this is the state column. This is the quantity consumed. Okay, so this is going to be changing. I just use run between function to insert this, just to give us an idea of when the data set changes. How do you update it from the main source? Okay, because each time we do anything, these figures on here will change. Let me see here. Okay, these other ones here are not, they are fixed. But these ones you can see inside the cell is round between. So I'm going ahead to be pressing F9. Just watch this column C, and it will be changing. The figures will be changing. So this is intentional, so that when we finish creating our pivot table, and then we can now refresh and see that the new data that is on this sheet has been updated on the pivot table that we created. Okay, so what we are going to do is, first of all, is learn how to create a pivot table. Now, having made sure that this has met the guide that we know of concerning pivot table, I'm going to click inside the pivot table. Now, again, your table, where your data is, it may be a regular table, what we know as table, but actually it's not a table. It's not an Excel table. There is a gray table, which most people take as table. And then there is an official Excel table, the one recognized by Excel to be table. There are different features that are great advantages that using Excel table has over normal table like we have now. By the way, let me check what we have here. Okay, this is ordinary table. This is a range or array table. So we are going to use this to create a pivot table. Now, having clicked inside this, I'm going ahead. There are two ways that you can create a pivot table. Either you use the shortcut or you just go through the long process. So the long process is coming to your insert. This is my ribbon, and I'm going to click insert. So when I click this insert, at the left-hand corner here, the extreme left here, you have your pivot table. So I'm going ahead to click this, and then this wizard pops up. Now, this is a table. Okay, I think this looks like a table because it's already looked at this, it is named. Okay, so this is a table. Now, this is what we want. If this is not what we want, we will select it. If you are familiar with Excel, you will know that these dashed lines around your selection is just a way of Excel trying to guess what you want to do. And then if you are satisfied with that, you move ahead. So right now, I need to scroll down to be sure that all my data sets, all the columns and everything is there. Okay, so fine. We have that. Then the next thing is, where do you want to paste it? If you are a beginner, it will be better for you to use a new worksheet. This is the default. It's good to use that. Okay, if you use that, then you have a space, a good space to work with. But if you are very, very experienced in the use of PivotTable, you can use existing worksheets. So if you use existing worksheet, Excel will now expect you to select where you need it to paste. So for this purpose, let's choose a new worksheet. And the moment I click OK, it's going to create a new tab on the left-hand side of the tab of the sheet that we are working on. So I'm going ahead to click this. Now see what happens. It has come here and dropping the pivot table right here. Okay, so I'm going ahead to just rename this pivot demo. Okay, now when you insert a pivot table on a spreadsheet, you have created two environments. You see this pivot table environment. Let me see if I can hide this. My panel is actually disturbing, blocking my space. Where is my destiny? Hide. Okay. Now, if you look at this, there are two environments here. Now, look at over here. You see pivot table, analyze, and design. Now, watch what will happen here when I click inside the spreadsheet. It disappears. So these are the two environments that you'll be working on when you create a pivot table. So for you to work on your pivot table, you must click this pivot table. And then this pops up. You see these pivot table fields. This is where you do your operation. This is where you do your pivoting of what you want. Now, I'll take a moment to describe these different fields. And I would like to start saying that this is a floating panel. If you don't want to put it here, you can actually put it anywhere, say here or here, if you like. Okay, by default, in most cases, it's somewhere here. So it has 5 different major fields. Here is your fields. And you will see that these fields here represent the columns of your original table. So we have the facilities, we have the state, we have the consumption columns, the costs, and the dates. So if you look, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's go back to our table. There are 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the more tables, the more columns you have here, the exact number of fields you have here. However, when you begin to do extra calculations, here will increase for you to select and show on your pivot table, but it will not show on this portion. I just hope that we have time to demonstrate that. So this is where you need to pick your items and drop either here or on the filter or the column or the value. So these are the 4 different fields. Now, by default, when you check any of these headers here, they will either come to the rows or value. Now, whichever way they are going to depends on the type of input that column receives. If it receives text input, like we have in the first one is facilities, And then all the inputs under facilities are text. They would automatically come under rows. Now, if you check a column that has numbers that you can add, you can get average, or you can do arithmetics, automatically it comes to under values by default. However, if I want to do certain other things like count occurrences of text inputs, I can forcefully drag it and drop it here, and it will give you by default counts. But if it is a field, a column whose fields are numbers, once you click it and it comes here, like we say, the auto operation that will happen is sum. That is going to sum it. But you have the opportunity to say, no, I don't want to sum, I want average, or I want count, or I want any other thing. Okay, so like I usually tell people, to discuss pivot table is something that can take a whole week, and then you are not yet done, because there are levels and levels of pivot table operation. So there are certain things that we'll be skipping so that we'll be able to catch the essentials. Okay, so now I'm going to just drop, I'm clicking facility, just checking it. We know that facility is just text input. So I click it, it comes right here. If you look at the original field, there are 420 records. Now, by just using pivot table, I'm able to show the unique facilities. So there are 4 facilities in the entire 420 entries. So I have now demonstrated that once you click, you just check any field. If it is text, it comes here. If it is number, it comes over here. Now let's look at consumption, which is number. I just click it and automatically it comes under the value. And then it has given you the sum. Like I said, once it comes here, the default operation is addition. Now you look at this, this is just a summary of the total consumption done by each of these facilities. Okay, so without having to look through the 420 records, I'm not sorting, I didn't do filter. Just by inserting my pivot table, I've been able to tell what the total consumption for each of these facilities is. Okay, so that is how simple this can be. Okay, so another thing that we can do, I just want to demonstrate also, I want to forcefully bring a text field from the rows here and drop it here. And then it will tell you how many, not in terms of summary or sum, but in terms of count. So I am bringing my facility. I'm forcefully dragging it. I click and drag. I'm going to drop it over here. You can see it. I'm dropping it in the value here. And the moment I release it, it's telling me the count of facilities. So what this means is how many times did each facility submit record in our data set. So we see that this submitted 121 times and so on and so forth. And then the total is 421, representing the 421 records. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and I'm going to entertain questions. And thereafter, I'm going to, let me see how I'm going to do this. I'll check our record and see how many people have responded with their email so that we can share this file. Okay, so I'm stopping now to entertain questions. Thank you.
Don't get one shot. What did you press to get
Type of question.
question.
Idogase, please, can you unmute yourself and speak?
All right. Thank you very much for the recognition, and I also want to thank you for the insightful and impactful session. I did grab a whole lot in that short period. Now I want to understand for you will need an already existing data set before you can use the pivot table. Is that correct?
Sure.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, one other person, let me see, another participant, Okay, please, can you go ahead and speak?
Okay.
It's possible this thing is a bit.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Can anybody hear him?
But I'm hearing you now.
Okay, so go ahead and speak.
All right. Good evening. I'm so grateful for this opportunity that I have to learn things about PivotTables. Please, where my question goes is, if for instance we are using a laminate, can it also function if you are using a laminate for the PivotTables?
Sorry, I didn't get that. If you are using what?
Lamis.
Lamis?
I want LAMIA.
LIMA. Can you put that on the chat box?
Okay. Thank you. And then the second question I want to ask, the last step that you did, where you dropped the count of facility, I couldn't really understand on that end. Please put more light on that.
Okay. I'll do that. But I will appreciate if everyone is using the link. Okay, thanks. Can everyone use the link? We over 30 here, we are 40 here, and yet only 10. I have the list of, I have email for only 10 persons. Please, can we use that? Using the chat box for your email is going to take me time to start copying one after the other. Okay, so you are talking about Lamis. Yes, the is an app that is being used to manage HIV clients in some facilities. Yes, I think Lamit also has. It's a spreadsheet software. Yes, I think there are this thing that can also come in the form of a pivot table. But that one, once you export the report, it comes out in the form of pivot table, where you can now begin to view the different reports that you are interested in. But what we are looking at here is you have a data set just the way we have, and then you are walking through it to create a pivot table by yourself. And then if you understand how to create pivot table by yourself, when you are giving a pivot table report exported either from Lamis or DHIS or any other software, you are in a better position to manipulate and even create other things using your experience on pivot table. Okay, so Abbas, your hand is up. Please go ahead and speak. Abbas, kindly unmute yourself and speak. Okay, so we haven't had this. Okay, let me see how we can do this now. So we don't have many people who have submitted their names. We don't have many people who have submitted their email addresses via the link. So we are going to just send to those who have done so in a couple of seconds now. Okay, so please, those of you who have filled the form, the register, kindly follow that, and then okay, so you want me to share that again? Let me share that again. Okay, so I have shared it on the chat box again. Please, if you filled that attendance and you have received your email, please, can you just let us know? You can type received, just type received, and that's all. If you have filled the register, check your email and confirm if you have received the file. It's the file that we just, okay, thank you. It's the file that we are using now. So let's just see more people receive it. Okay, so thanks. Oppo A73, kindly rename your device so that we can call you by your name. Oppo A73. Okay, so that's that. We want you to walk through what we have done today. And then I think obviously we are going to have more sessions on pivot table. So what we have done today is that we have introduced the pivot table, what it can do. We have also introduced you to the interface where you have two environments. We have demonstrated how to insert pivot table, and we have also described the different fields on the pivot table field. So the question about repeating what we did, so let me just go over that again. I'm just hoping that more people would have must have registered so that we can, let me see if we have more people who have registered. Okay, not yet. Maybe it's on this way. Okay, so I'll just take time to describe that again. Okay, Fayam, I don't know if you have received, okay, someone say received only attendance or received. Okay, so we are going to go through that over that again. Now, I'm going to, if you have filled the form before I shared, you should receive. If you feel and you didn't receive, probably you check in the your spam, probably it's there. I wouldn't know exactly. Let me check. Okay. Okay, so don't worry, since we aren't doing so much now, we've done the introduction. I'll just run through over it again and then. So what I did was to just, I'm going to remove this again. Now for PivotTable, I also like to let us know that we can actually remove what we have done. The PivotTable we have created is very simple. So we can just simply come over here, click and remove the items that we have inserted, the fields, and then everything comes back to 0 or like this. Okay, so I'm going ahead to do repeat what we did before. Now I'm going to select this facility. By clicking it, it just jumps here by default because that column has only text. Then I am going to click it also, hold it. I'm going to hold, click and hold and bring it under values. And then it's going to give me count. So this is what I did. I hope did you get this? This was what I did. Clicking here and holding it and dragging it. You received only attendance. No. What I shared here was attendance. Just click the link. There is a link. If you click it, it's supposed to take you to a form where that is the attendance. So fill the attendance so that I can have your emails there. It's easy for me to pull the emails, one copy. Then I can now send you the file. So what you will get when you follow this link is attendance for you to fill. Then I can have your email. Then I will use that email to send you the file that we are working on. Please. Okay, so I'll wait for that while I just continue to run through this. Okay, so this is just what I did to get the count. And then the other one is I can drop my state. State also has text field. So see what's going to happen here. State is now coming under facility. So what this means is these facilities are under, these states are under facilities. So, but if I am interested in seeing the states. Let's see the facilities under each state. What are the facilities under each state? Which means my facility should come under the state. So I'm going to change that. It's also part of the pivot table that we are talking about. You can pivot it to view it from different perspectives. You may be interested to see how many states, maybe assuming that this is a support. So you are now saying these are the supports that are coming to each facility. Then we have Enugu, FCT, Kanu supporting this under this. But supposing I want to look it at the other way, say I want to see the facilities under each state. So I have just done a reordering here so that my state is at the top and then the facilities is under. So you see that Benue State has this facility, Enugu State has this facility, and so on and so forth. So depending on your focus, you can actually do a lot of pivoting, transforming the way your data looks so that you can better answer certain questions you are interested in. Okay, so let me see if we have more email addresses. Okay, so what to happen is those who have received it, you can go ahead and practice. Then others who haven't seen it will have your email. I will share. Those of you that have your email, drop that box and ahead after order and share and at the ICC for me. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I got ejected out by network. So let me. Okay, so we have a lot of emails, yeah? So let's. So please kindly check your email again and confirm what you have. Please check your email and confirm what you have. Okay, thank you for confirming receipt. Okay, so let's give ourselves 10 minutes, walk through what we have done, then share your questions so that we can see if we can attempt responding to them. Okay, I'm happy a lot of people have received that. That's great. Okay. Great. So please take 10 minutes. Once it's 10 minutes past 9, we will be looking at the questions and then see what we can do as we round up today's session. Obviously, we are going to have another session next Saturday. So, and I'm going to share, I don't have that right now. I'm going to share a link to the WhatsApp group where we have other Excel enthusiast team, so that you can be part of that. Once we share the invite there, you receive it. Okay, so I have tried to respond to people who have sent in their emails. Please check your email again. Okay, Sally, let me see. I think I didn't. Let me see if I can send that now. Please, I understand. Okay, somebody's hand is up. So please go ahead and speak. Fayam, right? Please go ahead. Let me see if. Oh, yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
All right, so thank you very much for your excellent presentation.
Thank you.
And teaching. I've actually been posting some few questions on the dashboard, on the chat box, but I don't think you are actually looking at them. So first of all, I needed clarification on exactly what you wanted us to do, because I've received the file, I've opened the file, but clicking the file doesn't seem to give us what probably you want us to do, except you just want us to look at the file without playing around with it. So I don't really understand what we are supposed to do with the file.
Okay, thank you so
Before
much.
now, I'd also asked, how do we get what do we click to get the pivot field, the pivot table field? I asked that question earlier also.
Okay, thank you so much. So somebody just called my attention that some questions were asked. And I guess probably when network knocked me off and I came back, these things were off. And I've tried to see if anybody has the questions there, can anybody read those questions one after the other for me? Because I don't have them here anymore. You know what happens when network takes you out and when you come back, the chat history is off. So for what I want us to do, what you have is similar to what I have on our screen. Let me go ahead and I think I'm not sharing that screen again. Let me share it now. I guess this is what you have all. Can you confirm if this is what you have? Can you all let me know if this is what you have? Okay, so fine, just a minute. Okay, so yes, this is what you have, and this is what we are working on. So what I want you to do is to come to this. This is our original data set. Go ahead and insert a pivot table. If you insert a pivot table and you choose new spreadsheet or worksheet, it's going to drop it between this active sheet and the pivot demo sheet. So I want you to go ahead and play around this to get different different perspectives of your data. Try to work around this, placing them in different fields. You are not actually working to get any task done. You just want to see how it works. And then when you do something and you don't like it, you can actually remove them. See, these are like this. If this is what I want, if it doesn't make any meaning to me, I can begin to remove these things again from this point. And you are not distorting your original data. Okay, so I just want you to have the feel of it so that you can become very conversant with it. That's just what I want us to do. So I don't know if I answered your question, Fayam. You said you wanted to find out what I want us to do. That's exactly what I wanted us to do. Just play around. If you can duplicate what we did, that will be fine. So any other question? Okay, so thanks for those of you who have done that. It's already past 9. I wanted to find out if I can get back those questions that I was not able to respond to, so I can respond to them, and then we shut down for today. Can anybody let me know any of those questions if you have them, or those that ask the question, if you are still around, can you just... Okay, those that say they have not received it, let me try send it back to you again. Okay, I have one here. Let me see if there's another one who hasn't received it. Or for her, Henry Kelechi, pick that. Which other person again hasn't received? M. Saleh, you have not received. Okay, let me. Okay, M. Saleh has received. Good. I think there's only Sure Tire. Kamil, you have not received. Okay, so let me just. Okay. What about Kamil? Have you received it? Your last post says you have not. Can you share your this thing on the chat box so that I can pick it up and send? If you have not received it, please share. Okay, so I'm gonna head to send to Henry or for her. So I'm sending to you now. So just confirm if you have received it. It's gone. So try to confirm if you have received it. So I'm going to use your email addresses, which we have now, to send you invite to join the group, the WhatsApp group. So it will be easy to communicate. Well, it seems no question is coming. Okay, George. Okay, let me see this. So George, I've just sent. So please confirm, Dr. George. Okay, so I guess every other person has received. Sylvester has not received. Okay, so Sylvester, there you go. So Sylvester, kindly confirm if you have received it. Just check your mail and let me know. I just sent it. So guys, thanks for being around. I hope to see you next Saturday. So I will be sharing another invite. Okay, Harry has received it. I'll be sharing another invite. A kind of reminder, we'll be using the same link. So it's great to have you around, and I look forward to having you again. I'm also going to share this the link to this recording. It's going to be on YouTube so that you can view it, listen to it again. So thanks everyone. Weekend.